Hey everyone, Difference Maker here. Merry Christmas everyone. Now, I know Christmas has passed already and you all opened your gifts and hung out with your family members, but I'm still gonna wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So, for this video, this is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time now, and that's, in my opinion, the top 5 worst killer perks in Dead by Daylight. Now, what classifies as a bad killer perk, or any perk in general, is if the perk doesn't even work, hurts you more than it helps, and flat out just doesn't work at all and is useless in play. So that's going to be pretty much it, and the rules is any perk goes. Teachable perks, regular perks, anything goes, as long as it's bad. If it's very bad, then it goes on the list. So with all the rules out of the way, let's just get started with the number 5. So with my number 5 worst killer perk is Zanchin Tactics. This is one of the Oni's teachable perks that unlocks at level 30 when you play him, and this perk makes it so that you see the auras of pallets, breakable walls, and vaults. Now this perk, for beginners, sounds good, but it's only for beginners. Now, I have nothing against beginner perks, but here's when the problems start to arise. First of all, I don't mind beginner perks on killers. For example, there are some characters that have perks that are simple, but here's my problems with Zanchin Tactics. Why are you putting a beginner's perk on a killer that you have to pay for? Now, I know what you're going to say, that Oni's free and you don't need to pay with money, but you're giving a beginner's perk on a killer that you have to pay for, and not only that, he's being added in 2019. I don't know any person who is going to need to run this perk by 2019, because if you play this game for more than 2 months, you're going to memorize like every location of the pallets and vaults. By that time, you're not even going to need Zanchin Tactics. Like, why was this perk even made on a killer that you need to pay for? And not only that, its effect is not even good. Like, seeing pallets and vaults, their auras, it's not bad, but that should have been a perk that everyone got by default. That should have been at the start of the game as a beginner perk, not a teachable perk. And not only that, when you hit someone, it has to go on cooldown because, oh dear, it's so strong to see auras of this stupid shit. This perk is just straight up bad. Like, it's not bad because of, like, it's bad because, like, it's a beginner perk, and, like, it's on a killer where it should have been a perk that you get from the start of the game. It should have been for every character, not just a teachable perk. So, overall, this perk's very bad. Even for beginner level, you shouldn't pick this perk up. It's not very good. So let's just move on to number 4. So, for number 4, with the worst killer perks is Gearhead. This is yet another teachable perk coming on the list. This perk is unlocked after getting the Deathslinger to level 30. Now, this perk had a lot of controversy when it came out. Not because it was OP, but it was because of the very controversial decision made by the developers of Behavior. Basically, what happened was Gearhead's duration was originally 35, 40, 45 seconds of aura revealing. So when a survivor hits a skill check, the generator's aura is revealed. Now, that sounds great on paper, so when you hit 2 people, you get to know which gens are getting worked on. Here's what they did. They nerfed down the timer to 30 seconds at tier 3, and they only made the skill check, they only made the perk trigger on good skill checks instead of both great and good, which was awful. Not only that, it only worked on basic attacks. So this perk already doesn't even work on half the roster. For example, Hillbilly and Huntress can't even use the fucking perk because their chainsaw and their hatchet doesn't count as basic attacks. So already, this perk deserves to be on the list for all the right reasons. Number 1, the basic attack requirement. This neuters so many perks from being good because half the roster can't even use this perk because of that requirement. Hillbilly, Huntress, Demo, Bubba, they can't use the perk because of the basic attack requirement. And not only that, the duration's too short. Now, the duration I would be fine with. I'm fine with the duration being that way if the perk actually fucking worked. because what happens is you have to get 2 basic attack hits, and when you actually do get the perk to activate, sometimes it doesn't even activate at all, because in this gameplay that you're watching, I got Gearhead to activate, and not one gen highlighted yellow, which is a good thing, but think about that. What if a survivor was on that gen for the whole 30 seconds and didn't get one skill check? That's the problem with this perk. The RNG kills it. Not only does it have a short timer and a stupid requirement, it's all based on luck if the perk even activates. You have to literally wait for them to get a skill check to see if they're even on the gen at all. This is the reason why this perk sucks. Overall, fuck this perk, and that controversy with the nerfing of this perk is so bad, and let's hope this perk is better after the mid-chapter, because I heard this perk will be getting changed in the mid-chapter. Maybe. So, let's just hope Gearhead gets better. Overall, this perk's awful. Let's just move on to number 3. So with number 3, the worst perk for killers is Beast of Prey. This is, once again, another teachable perk that's unlocked after getting the Huntress to level 30. This perk, oh my god, I don't want to get started. Let's just admit it, this is one of the worst perks in Dead by Daylight. Now, at the time, I thought this was the worst perk, but with all the recent buffs we've been getting to all the others, this perk got bumped back by some stiff competition. So, Beast of Prey basically makes it so that if you're in a chase with someone and you get to Bloodlust Tier 1, you get undetectable until you lose it, which, let me explain why this perk sucks. This is awful. It's one of the worst fucking perks in the whole game. Wanna know why? 1, you have to chase someone for a long time to get Bloodlust 1. And when you actually do get the undetectable, it doesn't even, like, it's useless because you're chasing someone, and if you lose one line of sight for just 1 second, you lose the entire undetectable status. And not only that, you gotta hit Bloodlust 1 just to get it, which is not good at all. It's just flat out useless, this perk. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. Like, I have no words. Like, I can't describe this perk at all. It's just that bad. I can't. Just, like, the perk sucks. It doesn't help you out at all. And, like, the perk will actually hurt you more than it helps. So, overall, just, I have nothing to say. Just, this perk is awful, and it needs a complete rework, in my opinion. This perk has to get a complete rework if it ever wants to be good. So, originally, this perk was going to be number 2, but after looking at these 2 perks, these last 2 perks suck. These are deserving to be number 2 and 1. So, let's just go. So, my number 2 worst killer perk is Insidious. This perk is unlocked with every killer when you start the game, and if I had to describe each perk with one word, this perk has one word that perfectly describes it, and that's camping. This perk doesn't do anything but help you camp the hook. Basically, when you stand still for 2 seconds, you become undetectable, which basically removes your terror radius and red stain. This perk is awful because it promotes a very bad playstyle, which is camping. Nobody likes camping. Survivors hate it, and when killers are forced to camp to win, that's a sign that it's not a good perk, and it's not fun at all. Because that's basically the whole perk. The whole perk is you hook someone, you stand still, and then you camp the hook. That's it. That's all you do. That's literally the whole perk. You just camp. It has nothing else. Like, you can try to make it work, like kicking a generator and doing the Insidious, but it won't work against a Survive with Friends that are sneaking around. And even if you do camp with Insidious, it gets countered by Survive with Friends, but this perk is just so boring. Like, not only does it suck and it doesn't do anything, it sucks because it promotes a bad playstyle of camping. Like, I don't want to use this perk to camp. I want to actually use it to help me play the game. This perk does not help you at all. It just promotes camping, which is very, very bad. and I thought this was going to be number one, honestly, because like this perk does everything wrong, promotes a very bad play style, does not help you at all, and actually will hurt you more than it helps. But surprisingly, I found a perk that was even worse than this, that it actually hurt me a lot more than helped. So let's just get to the final perk. So the number one worst killer perk in Dead by Daylight is Monstrous Shrine. This is yet another perk that every killer has. Now, this is without a doubt the worst teachable perk ever in Dead by Daylight. This perk checks every box off of how not to design a killer perk. Does not help you at all? Check. Hurts you more than it helps? Check. That hasn't been buffed at all? Check. Yeah, this perk has been in the game for 4 years and it hasn't been buffed at all. It hasn't even been changed, which is surprising how this perk is the most underused perk ever. No one ever uses this perk, and yet it hasn't been buffed at all. But now the problems with this perk arise with this. It only affects the basement hooks. That's the biggest problem. See, it makes it so that people will die faster if you hook them in the basement, which sounds good, but that's the problem. It only affects the basement and not every hook around. Now, if this perk affected every hook on the map where they die faster, then okay, I'd be fine. But it only affects the basement, which is a big problem because when you down someone, you're not going to be going to the basement every time unless you're running a meme build to be going there. If you're actually playing a serious game, you're not going to be able to get to the basement every time you want to use it. And not only that, the values this perk gives you is not good enough though, because like, I don't know how long it takes to sacrifice, but I heard if you run this perk, it only takes away like 9 seconds. Yeah, 9 fucking seconds it takes away just to sacrifice someone in the basement. This perk is straight up bad. I thought Insidious was bad, but in this gameplay, I didn't even hook one person in the basement. Yeah, I tried to do the Insidious build on Bubba just for shits and giggles, and I didn't get one person in the basement. That's how bad this perk is. Highly situational, does not work, and it will actually cripple you because you're trying to kill yourself just to get them into the damn basement. This perk is awful, and let's hope they will buff this perk, because I heard that they actually have to rework this perk in order to actually make it good. They can't just buff the numbers, so let's hope they will actually change this perk before the 5-year anniversary, because if they don't change Monstrous Shrine before the 5-year anniversary, there's going to be some problems, and let's hope they change it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you agree with my list, or do you have your own list, write in the comments your personal list of your top 5 worst killer perks, and hope you enjoyed the video. Please press the subscribe button, click on the silver bell for notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.